There we go.
All right, what is going on, everybody? It is Thursday, time for the second third of the week today, and we are coming to you guys live from Cigars and More 2 in Bakersfield, California, the corner of Brimhall and Ellen, in the Walmart shopping center. And I am carefully trying to light up my Siempre cigar here from Dapper Cigars, located up in Fresno, California. Siempre meaning always in Spanish.
And I am actually having the Cubo Sumatra from Dapper Cigars. Actually, some of my favorite cigars come out of Dapper. I'm very excited for this episode today, guys. I was going to smoke a La Madrina, but I feel like I talk about it too much.
I was going to say, yeah, you have a La Madrina almost every time we have talks about Dapper Cigars. So
it's true.
Yeah.
I had to switch it up. Sooner or later to show you guys not only that you can switch it up, even if you have a favorite, go ahead and try something else in the line. And again, I have had this before, and I know I like it. But I think I've had everything from Dapper.
Yeah, just about. Except for, I think, the only one we haven't had is the one that is a show exclusive.
Yes.
Nolan, how you doing? JJ, what's going on? Kevin, how you doing?
Hey, JJ. How's Escondido treating you? Hope everything's good right now. I know things are crazy, but everyone out there seems to be keeping a level head, as far as the cigar community goes, at least.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone going into their lounges wearing a full Bubble Boy suit yet, so that's good. If you do, probably don't smoke inside your Bubble Boy suit, because you will run out of oxygen. It doesn't work that way, guys. Other than that, things are what they are right now, and I'm glad to see all you with us. I'm very glad to see everybody checking in so far. Matt, how you doing? Okay, good. All is good, so I like to hear. Over in New York, Tim, how you doing over there in New York right now? I know you guys are having even crazier news than us. And then, there we go. Just got a hold of Ian. He's got the link, so he'll be joining us in just a minute, guys. So if you have any questions for Ian, if you could do me a huge favor, please comment your questions for him, and please share the video so other people can ask him a couple questions right now. We're having him live via video time, which is super easy for me. I just set it up. Yeah, and if you guys ever know anyone else we should have online, they don't need to fly in. They don't need to drive anywhere. We can we'll have them video chat right in. Yeah. I don't like wasting people's time with all that driving nonsense. It's far enough as it is.
And for any of you that, like Miguel said, had Dapper Cigars, let us know what you guys think of them. I'm a big fan of Dapper. Always have been since the first time trying them. And I know the first time I ever had a Dapper cigar was a Cubo. I want to say it was a Cubo Claro. Was the first one that I ever had. Rich, how you doing? Timothy said that the numbers are going up over in New York. Yeah, I think that the numbers are going to go up as the testings get done. So I think the more people that get tested, obviously numbers are going to go up. But I think you guys, we just keep a level head, and we're all going to get past this. So keep enjoying your cigars, keep enjoying your whiskey. Be smart. Wash your hands, cover your mouth when you cough. If you feel sick, stay home. If you think that other people around you may be sick, stay away, kind of a thing. So
I think the strongest piece of advice we can give, this is not medical advice, by the way. First, something a little stronger than your usual drink, just to make sure you kill all the bacteria in your system.
Right.
Germs can't survive alcohol. That's why people invented it, all the different fermenting processes, because before you could, clean the water properly, you had alcohol.
That's right. Alcohol and weapons is the first thing that we make. But again, I am having the Siempre here in the Toro size. And I do have notes on the blend, so I'm going to get that for you guys real quick. Nice. It is a sun-grown Sumatra wrapper from the Oliva factory, a U.S. Connecticut broadleaf binder, and fillers from Esteli, Ometepe, and Jalapa, Nicaragua, with some Jamastran from Honduras, and they're also all from the Oliva factory. So now we are going to get into some of the history of Dapper Cigar and the relationship that they have with Oliva, because they do have a strong relationship with them. But we'll wait till Ian gets on to really talk about that. Matt, how you doing? Tim, can't read all the comments because the mic's in the way. Might have to do
Tim
that.
Saying, as a first responder, certainly keeping things busy, man. I'm praying for you. I know it's crazy out there right now, and you guys are doing some really hard work across the country. Yeah. Everyone having their situations, and give those moments. Thank a first responder, guys, because this not going to slow down anytime soon.
Right? Yeah.
Just got to keep them in your prayers. And everyone who's still working right now, all the grocery store people who are dealing with the crazy crowds. Everyone, all the truckers who are getting stuff where they need to be. Keep them in your minds. I saw someone post something like they wouldn't allow a trucker to go through the drive-through. So if you see them over there, maybe pick up their food for them, help them out. I thought that was kind of cool. I never thought about that before.
Right.
And obviously, they're going to get hungry out there. They're going to get tired. So just keep an eye on people. You know, talk to family. That's it.
Now we haven't really been going to the club all week. You know, we've been trying just to distance ourselves from everybody. We just spend a lot of the time with the family, and so we really haven't been able to do a whole lot of content this week because we don't really like to smoke over at my parents' house when we're there visiting. With my sister having her condition and my brother having asthma. So I apologize, guys. There's not a whole lot going out this week. Hopefully you guys will understand that. Alex, how you doing?
Hey, smoking something good tonight, along with some Screwball. That is the peanut butter whiskey, right? Oh man, that's some good stuff.
That it is. Yeah, I know a lot of people really dig that Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Has the lamb on the front or something?
That it does. It would go good with a nice strawberry or raspberry vodka, I think. Make yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, if you will.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it works.
No, it does not. Nah, I don't recommend that. That was a joke.
You know, before Ian does come on, because I know he'll be on in just a minute, you know, a lot of stuff going on in the cigar industry with this whole COVID-19 coronavirus stuff. Honduras has closed down all its factories. And the Dominican is starting to close down a lot of factories. Who was it? There was Fuente and Carrillo have already closed down. PDR's factories are working at 50%, and I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon, you guys. So, you know, do stock up if you have to. You know, you don't want to get short on stuff that you want to smoke during this quarantine time.
100%. And I think Ian is with us, so I'm going to try to bring him on right now, guys. So let's see if we can't hear him out. Sir?
Yeah,
there we go. How are you?
Hey, Ian, how you doing?
Good, man. Sorry I'm late.
No worries. So for everybody here, Ian, do you want to introduce yourself and let them know who you are?
Yeah, I'm Ian Reith. I'm the founder and janitor for Dapper Cigar Company. Do a little bit of everything. Little blending, little packaging, little cleaning, all that stuff. But yeah, man, I'm out here in my office trying to maintain, what do they call that? Social distancing.
Right.
Yeah, a little push away.
You guys are a little close, by the way.
You know, we figured we're family. If one of us is going to get it, we're all going to suffer through it anyways. So that's just how we roll.
I'm pretty sure I drink enough whiskey to kind of jump the hump of this one, so I'll be all right.
Right?
That's my only claim to this. But yeah, it's been great. I know it's going crazier for you over there. How has Fresno been, man? I mean,
good, man. Fresno's all right. We're on actual lockdown here, so we're on. I forget what they call it. Having a memory blank here, but we're on basically a stay-at-home or stay where you're at kind of situation. So you're supposed to only critical services are allowed. You know, I don't know if cigars are considered critical by.
I was going to ask. So does that mean that you get a full police escort when you're delivering cigars? Seeing as how that's pretty vital in my opinion.
No, I think it's extremely vital, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that people don't go without, you know?
Absolutely.
Appreciate that, yeah.
So we were telling people, you know, a little bit about your line before you came on. Obviously, Miguel is a huge fan of the La Madrina that you make.
Okay.
So if you wouldn't mind, if you would just kind of go over the cigars that you make, and I mean, you don't have to get into, you know, the full blend or anything like that, but maybe a little bit of behind the idea of the cigar, if you will.
Yeah, man. We can talk about what we have today. We have several lines. The first lines probably should start with the original lines or the Cubo series lines, Claro, Maduro. The Cubo series lines I started, gosh, man, I'm not good with dates, but 2000 and I think I came across a box of bands the other day that had 2012 as the date that they were printed. So obviously I printed the bands before I blended the cigars, but the Cubo series, Claro is a Connecticut shade wrap cigar. The Maduro is a San Andres Oscuro wrap cigar. They're actually blended to be a little bit more mild, medium, more approachable, more mass market, for lack of a better word. They were probably I think the Claro was first, and the Maduro came next. And then we later released one that's a Sumatra, which is the one that got all the ratings this last year. Half Wheel was kind enough to give us a number 8 for our short Robusto size, the 4.5 by 50. And that's basically the same blend that I started with years ago, except I just swapped the wrappers with a beautiful Sumatra from Oliva Tobacco. And then we tweaked a little bit of the fillers. We added some broadleaf and some stuff like that. But it's basically the base blend. It's the same. And all those Kubo series of cigars are just all medium-bodied cigars. Some are a little lighter on the medium, some are a little more fuller on the medium side, but they're cigars that you should be able to smoke during, for a wide range of folks. They're not going to scare anybody. They're not extremely powerful. There's not a lot of nicotine content. They just kind of were pleasant morning and afternoon smokes, I would say. La Madrina, which is the one that you mentioned, El Borracho, Siempre, these are all cigars that were released years later. Each of these cigars have varying characteristics that are probably a little bit more than the Kubo series. They're a little bit more flavor, a little bit more variety in terms of strength. The La Madrina is, of course, going to be a little bit more fuller bodied. Going to have a little bit more richness involved because there's a lot more tobacco varietals in that cigar. The El Borracho series, we have a series of box press cigars that are in the red banded series from San Andres, and the blue banded series are wrapped with Connecticut broadleaf. Both of these cigars have the same filler components, Nicaraguan primarily filler components, but the wrappers change. And by just changing these wrappers, using the Mexican wrapper versus the Connecticut wrapper, the Valley wrapper, both of these components really change the characteristics of that cigar. If you like a Mexican profiled cigar, you're going to want something in that El Borracho red usually, because it kind of hits where it kind of hits you in that all the attributes that are good about Mexican wrapper. Broadleaf is very uniquely distinct in its flavor, and people that tend to like Connecticut broadleaf cigars generally going to like broadleaf. I mean, it's not like any other tobacco on earth. It's very unique, and so generally speaking, people will pick one of the two Borrachos as maybe their favorite because they kind of shy towards one of those varietals. Siempre is a completely different beast. Siempre combines a Sumatra and broadleaf in higher volume. So the Sumatra, the wrapper we use is called a Ecuadorian Sumatra Oscuro sun-grown wrapper, and it is a very unique wrapper. It's a beautiful dark wrapper, and it's got extremely like hearty amounts of earthiness and woodsiness and all the things that you would expect in a Sumatra wrapper. And then we combine that with the broadleaf binder, Connecticut broadleaf binder. So you kind of get best of both worlds on that. And then along with that, we've got some Nicaraguan and a little bit of Honduran fillers. So that's a totally different beast on its own. And, we try to make cigars basically that will fit everyone's palate. We're not there yet. We still have cigars that we need to make for certain demographics, which we're going to do this year. We're going to release them this year. And they're different than what we've done before, than anything we've done before. We've always been known as kind of the medium-bodied cigar kind of company. We try not to make cigars that are too strong or too powerful. And, this year we're going to try to hit a little bit different flavor profiles, especially with tobacco from the Dominican. We're going to use a little bit more of that, and we're going to get a lot more higher profile, higher octane nicotine strength cigars in this year. So, that's exciting just around the corner.
I love it. Yeah. I've always been a big fan. You got some pretty bad with them. Sorry. Is that on us?
What's going on?
Sorry, we just get a little feedback right now.
Oh, might be me. Sorry.
Turn this down a little bit. Oh, there. No worries. I've always been a huge fan of the La Madrina, as Frankie mentioned before, and pretty much the entire line. So hearing that you're expanding some more flavor profiles, that's right up my alley, because I mean, I know you have your guys who will stick with their strength palettes, or certain flavors or certain wrappers they like most. But when you have something to choose from a company you already love, that's not something that you're usually going towards, I think that helps people try new things because they already trust that you do a great job, so they want to try what's coming out next.
Mhm.
Yeah, La Madrina is our best-selling cigar. It's our worst-rated but best-selling cigar. Raiders do not like that cigar for whatever reason. That's fine, and it might also be because our Robusto and Toro sizes are totally jacked up. The sizing is not right, and that's something we're going to correct. We actually have the opportunity to correct that through this FDA process. We have the opportunity to make some corrections and align some sizes better. But the La Madrina line is exceptionally popular in terms of sales. In terms of ratings, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I don't care about the ratings, but I do care more about the sales, so that's okay with me. I mean, I would rather have the worst rated cigar that sells the most versus the best rated cigar that never sells. I mean,
that makes total sense. So you have another cigar out that I saw on your website, the Des Valido.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, so this is a cigar that we've been blending, that I've been blending for 3 years. And, I know a lot of cigar companies and a lot of people are like, I've been working on it for 2 years. Look, I haven't been working on it dedicated for 3 years. It's not like I'm in a tobacco barn looking at leaf every night trying to find the right one. All right, let's not get that twisted. But have I been really, really picky about this blend? Yeah, too picky. Because I've just been chasing what I want. And the deal is that we haven't made a lot of super high octane cigars. And there's a misconception, I think, with cigars. When you talk about like high strength or high flavor profile or high nicotine content, people kind of, I think cigar smokers kind of think that cigar has to be real bitey. Mm-hmm. When you smoke it, it's got to have a lot of bite or a lot of pepper or a lot of sharpness to it. And the truth of it is that bitiness is not correlated with the amount of nicotine in a cigar. You can have an exceptionally high nicotine cigar that doesn't have that bite. And what it's come down to is we don't make a cigar at this moment that has those bitey characteristics. We don't make a cigar that has a sharp palate, like a sharp hit to your palate. It's just philosophically not something I smoke a lot. And the other piece of it too is, and maybe other people will certainly disagree with this, but my belief is that if you use really well rested tobacco, generally speaking, you're not going to get that really, crisp tongue bite. It's just not going to be there. So blending a cigar that is high nicotine, high octane, high flavor, but also has a little bit of tongue bite has been tough for me. It's just not worked out real well. But I finally gotten over the last 3 years, 2 years or so. In this last 6 to 8 months, I've finally kind of gotten I don't know if gotten's a word. It's not a word, obviously, but I'm finally at the spot where I have a series of blends that satisfy my palate, and I think also satisfy people that like sharper, stronger cigars. And so that's one of those cigars that's going to be that. We've never released these cigars. What's happened is I've made batches of like 400, and I've given them to people. And I kind of keep track which blends I've given to people. And I've I've sit there and I've kind of listened to the feedback. And I really thought that the last series of cigars that I blended was really, they were really good, I thought, but they were just they didn't have that tongue action that I think you need for this blend. Because there's a segment of society, there's a segment of cigar smokers that like that cigar. Or maybe it's you and I that like that cigar, but we only like it, at night, maybe after dinner, or once in a while, or whatever. And so we want to make a cigar that satisfies that customer. And so I've been smoking like nonstop over the last year, super strong cigars, just because I'm constantly comparing other people's popular strong cigars with these new series of blends. As an example, I was down in Nika not this last week. I just flew in on Saturday. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, through LAX, right? So yeah, you can't spray enough Lysol in the world to get out of that. But so I was talking to the guys down there, and one of the retailers that knows me, he's like, yeah, man, Ian's been buying the hell out of these Don Pepin blues. We can't get him to stop smoking these blues. Well, the blue, why am I smoking a Don Pepin blue a lot? Because the Pepin blue is a great example of a cigar that has a great pop to it. It's got a great kind of peppery pop, and it's got the refinement of a cigar that, it's not unfermented tasting. It's not wrong tasting. It's got the pop, it's got the strength, it's got the flavor. And so, of course, I'm going to be tasting other cigars like this all the time, so that my palate, so that I can try to put myself in the mind frame of a consumer that loves it. And that's what I've been doing for the last year, really hard. But for the last couple of years, I've been trying to blend these cigars. So Desvalido is not out today. If you've smoked them because I've given you one or I've given you a couple of them. And I wanted to know your opinion, and I've never told the blends really to anybody. And then we finally have a blend that I'm happy with, and people that I've given to are happy with that as well. So that's a good thing. That'll be coming out this year for sure. And then as part of that process, we also made some special blends for some very large retailers. And one of these retailers received a blend that I actually think it's the best thing that I've ever blended myself. And it's not the Desvalido, but it's going to be going to a retailer. And it's what I'm smoking right now in this little format, just because I'm making sure that over 2 different separate batches, it's consistent with what we're trying to do. Because it is a little bit, it's a little complex in terms of the tobacco. But yeah, man, a lot of exciting stuff going on in the next year here, besides this virus.
Will that be debuting at PCA this year?
I'm hoping we don't have to debut it at PCA. I don't think. I don't. Depending on how long this lasts, I don't know if PCA is going to happen. So, I obviously don't want to be around a convention with a bunch of people from all over the world if it's not a great situation. But regardless of whether it's PCA or not, we're going to release it anyways. If PCA happens and it's all good and we'll be at PCA, great. We'll sell it then, or maybe we'll sell it before then. But yeah, I mean, the other cigar that we're releasing for this retailer, this will be available regardless of PCA. They're going to make their own announcement, I'm sure, because it's not something that we're going to generally release. We're really steering it towards this particular retailer because they've been such a great supporter from us, and we want them to have the business for it. And it really is a phenomenal cigar. Like, it's just probably,
well, whichever retailer it is, because I know I don't want you to give it away. I know you don't want to give it away either. I hope that they do ship out cigars so some people can definitely get that try.
No, they are. They're the right retailer to have this project.
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. So we already have some people asking in the comments where and when can they get their hands on them. So guys, they'll be coming soon. Keep your eyes out for announcements on that. But my next question is, you guys use a lot of Oliva tobacco. Am I correct?
All of it. Look.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm a big fan of Oliva. My favorite cigar the last few years running has been the Serie V Melania. So what started that relationship with you guys and Oliva, and how has that How's that been a benefit to you? I mean, obviously they grow some of the best tobacco.
Well, so here, let me just slightly nudge you because it is very confusing. So Oliva Cigar Company and Oliva Tobacco Company are two different companies.
Okay.
Oliva Cigar, the one that makes the Melania, etc. It's now owned by J. Cortez, which is
Right.
a European company, and that's a different. Sorry, sorry, hamburger. That's a different company.
Okay.
That they make the Melania, etc. They are an older company, but Oliva Tobacco Company is the oldest of the Olivas per se in terms of the cigar business. Well, I don't know. Maybe the Gilberto Oliva, maybe that family, maybe that goes further back. I don't know their history, but Oliva Tobacco Company is they've been primarily growers of leaf and fermenters. So for the longest time, they grow and ferment leaf, and they do this for about everybody. So you can't name anyone in Nicaragua these days that doesn't probably buy tobacco from them. And if they don't grow it, then they'll broker it from other people. So that's who I've been making my cigars with, primarily from the standpoint of sourcing the cigars,
Okay.
sourcing the tobacco, and then the cigars themselves are made at a facility called Naxa. And Naxa it's an older factory in Nicaragua, and the Olivas have a large interest in Naxa, and so therefore there's kind of a symbiotic relationship between the manufacturing of the cigars and the acquisition of the actual leaf itself. And which, by the way, have you guys been down to Nicaragua at all?
Not yet. I was actually hoping to go next week, but that, what's going on.
Next week?
No, I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah, no, good time.
No, I'm just messing with you. But we've definitely been wanting to get over there. It's just timing's always been bad, and now it's definitely worse than usual. So it'll be a little while for us.
Okay, well, we're probably going to do some trips here in the fall, particularly during the growing season coming up in the fall. So I'd love to show you guys what I'm talking about, so you can get a sense of scale and so you can get a sense of the process. We'll talk offline about that. But regardless, yeah, the Oliva Tobacco Company, the reason I use them for nearly everything, I mean, pretty much everything. They don't grow everything themselves, but for any Dominican leaf that we have, or any Mexican wrapper that we use, Connecticut broadleaf, etc., they'll acquire that and for me.
I mean, you don't have to go looking for it. You can just get everything you need.
Correct.
That's great.
And you know what? I'll be honest with you. If you're a boutique cigar company today, if you're a small manufacturer, a small boutique cigar company, your biggest problem is your ability to get good leaf. And really, this entire thing stems with this one philosophy. Good cigars are good because they use good leaf, because they use good ingredients. That's just period. I mean, if you don't have good tobacco, chances are your cigars are going to not be great tasting. Now, the construction and the rolling and the preparations and all of those components separate. You first have to start with good tobacco. And so it was very fortunate that I got aligned up with Oliva Tobacco, namely through Gus Cura down in Nicaragua, who runs their Nicaraguan operations in Esteli. And beyond that, over the years, they've really been like saints to me. I mean, I would not be able to make cigars in the way that I'm making them. I would not be able to survive without this family. They are the most generous family that I've ever met. I have a great relationship with them, and I'm extraordinarily grateful that they're able to do what they do for me as a small manufacturer. Because these are guys that are used to dealing with very, very large entities. Fuente, Pepin, AJ, you name it, right? So it's extremely critical that the cigars that that I make have great tobacco, and it starts with Oliva, and it starts with that process. After we get that great tobacco, ooh, hold on, sorry, my screen went blank. Yeah, I should turn that off. Maybe I should turn the screensaver off, huh? Let's see. Well, screw it. I'll just move the mouse every few minutes. Beyond that, I have a great group in Nicaragua for the production end of it. All these cigars that I'm making now are these newer cigars at Noxa. There's a production manager named Raul Diaz, and Raul is Esteban's brother. So Esteban is the blender and production manager at Roma Craft, or I should say production manager. I don't know. I'm assuming he's blender and production manager at Roma Craft, and his brother Raul is at Noxa. And these are guys that are incredible tobacco production guys. A guy like Raul has worked in every vertical in tobacco, every little job, starting off when he's a little kid in Dominican Republic, working pre-production, which is all of the tobacco fermentation, working the farms, working the processing, working the all of the non-factory components. And then he's went on to work in the factory and everything from Rolero, etc., Panchero, all those jobs, every single job. So it's hard to find a guy that has worked at every level of tobacco like Raul has. And so he's the production manager at NASA. I work extremely close with him to create these cigars from every aspect, because I'm here in Fresno, California. I'm not down there in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
There's only so much I can do from here, realistically. I get the easy job of going down there, of blending, of putting together the sizes and putting together what the cigars are going to taste like and the branding components, etc. But every day in and day out, a guy like Raul's got to show up to work at 4 a.m. and leave at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. to make sure that our cigars are consistent, because we need to have quality control. We need to have consistent tobacco supply. He's got to be looking at all the things it takes to run a successful factory with not just my brand, but other brands. And so guys like Raul are just extremely critical to the consistency and the product itself that you guys get. So yeah, I mean, the whole thing, soup to nuts is it's complex, and it's I owe guys like Raul at Noxa, and the Olivas and Gus and all these people extreme amount of credit to be able to sell and produce the cigars that we're able to produce for a small manufacturer.
Now, like you said, Dapper being a boutique company and you sourcing all your tobacco from Oliva, if there's a certain leaf that you like, is it something you can request of them, or is it more what they have you work with?
Oh yeah. No. I drive them nuts because I'm always requesting some crazy stuff. Now, at a boutique level, that works. Okay. For instance, if I want, let's just say it's Brazilian Modafina, something that's a little bit odd that the factory doesn't necessarily want to carry because it's not realistic. The price of it's high, etc. They can't get a large quantity. For a boutique manufacturer, that works very well because it suits.
Right.
If you're a larger manufacturer, obviously it's probably not a good idea to be using a crazy amount of tobaccos. It's just not going to be a good idea. You're probably not going to get a consistent supply of it, and how many cigars you're going to make from it. So I think that's why a lot of cigars that you see to this day, they're going to give you the generic ingredients, right? They're going to say, hey, look, we got an Ecuadorian wrapper and we got Nicaraguan fillers and binder. Done. Easy, right? You can consistently produce that cigar, no matter your volume, pretty much, because that's available. But you start getting crazy with it, there's a limit. There's a production limit that you're going to be allowed to do because the tobacco's not going to be accessible. That's also why you don't see a lot of boutique companies that have their own factory. That's a terrible undertaking. It's extraordinarily costly to create your own factory. And it's even worse because you have to buy a lot of tobacco. You got to buy a couple years worth of tobacco. I mean, if you're, for a guy my size to make his own factory, boy, that would be, it'd be very expensive. And I don't know if it'd be a good time to do that, especially with the FDA, especially with all the things going on. I mean, I respect everybody that does that and everybody that's out there. I got mad love for you, but for me, no, it's not. It'd be a very difficult thing to do, realistically.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everything that they pilot. We haven't talked about the FDA regulations in a little bit just because of the immediate stuff going on. But it's something not to forget about. No matter what's going on, they're still working on that.
Mm-hmm.
They're still looking to regulate quite heavily. And if that stuff does pass for you, do you see your business model changing drastically, or do you think you'll be able to kind of ride the storm out and continue to do what you do the way you want to?
I'm confident, from it's funny because we're talking about the FDA, and right now the FDA is worried about something that's going to kill everybody in 14 days, but then they got to make laws for stuff that's going to kill you when you're 70.
Yeah.
It's kind of ironic, right? But ever since they announced the FDA stuff, I've taken it very seriously. We've hired really good attorneys. We've worked with other industry people. We've been talking and we've been filing all along. Every single filing date. There's been about 3 filing dates, I think, to this date that we've all met. We've filed. We've not had any problems with the FDA. We have FDA attorneys, which are not cheap, that have dealt with cigarette companies in the past. I'm 100% confident that as my business stands today, we're not going to have any problems with the FDA because we're small. We're not the guys that they're after. Like if I was maybe, Swisher, I might be more concerned because not only am I like the world's largest, manufacturer, but also I make flavored product because that's kind of gone under some scrutiny.
Right.
But for me today, I have no concerns. I keep doing the right stuff. We keep doing the right stuff, and thus far, I think things are going to get easier. The last year or so of FDA announcements have all been beneficial to the cigar industry. Each announcement they've made has been less worse or less bad than we think it's going to be.
Especially with that recent one with the warning labels getting
yes, that was postponed.
That was good.
There's good news on the ingredient filings. There's good news on probably we'll hear today because the ruling today for the newest filing that everybody's freaking out about is the May filing, which is the end all be all kind of. You got to get all your brands, sizes, blends, everything approved in order for you to continue doing business. Well, I think today is the court case that is going to try to delay that or push that out, and we'll see what happens with that. It's probably a good time to do it because amid all this coronavirus scare, they're probably going to. I'm assuming they're going to be rational and go, "This is ridiculous." Well, and I'll give you an example. During one of the last filings, there was a hurricane that hit. I think it was Amelia that hit Florida. It didn't hit Florida. It kind of grazed Florida. Florida got touched. Well, as part of that, the FDA came out and basically allowed any entity that had their operations impacted by that to have an extension. Well, pretty much all of the brands are in Florida, right? I mean, believe everybody's got an office in Florida. So as far as I know, all of them filed for that because why not, right? Well, that was just for that hurricane. That didn't do a huge amount of damage. I mean, it didn't take out the entire state or anything. Can you imagine what kind of, what kind of filing grievance you're going to get for this. I mean, you're talking about Honduras is shutting down factories. Nicaragua may shut down factories. You're talking about what is this doing, the coronavirus doing to the cigar business? Monday morning, I have to speak with a lot of brokers that represent our products throughout the country. These are people that get paid 100% on commission. They're concerned, man, how long is this going to last? It's going to last for 2 months, 3 months. I'm not going to have any money coming in for 2 to 3 months. How about retailers? Retailers are, here in Fresno, they've closed to lounge business, and they may even close to purchasing business depending on how bad it gets. If you're a cigar retailer or any retailer, are you going to be able to suffer a month or 2 months or 3 months worth of exceedingly high revenue loss? This is bad. The whole thing is bad. So I don't think the FDA can. I don't think they can go on with their filing in May. I think they have to push this out. I think this is going to be the least of their concerns. They're talking about people. We're talking about the potential of lots of people dying from this illness. They need to be expediting vaccines right now.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It just might be a little more important right now.
Yeah, come on, let's face it. Let's, premium cigars, if anything, they should be airdropping some premium cigars. All these people are going to be sitting at home. How many divorces are going to happen?
My brothers and sisters, they were pulled out of school early. My sister has a medical condition, and my mom didn't want the other kids around, other kids to bring stuff back to her. But they got Chromebooks today to do their schoolwork from.
Yeah.
So my dad went up to Delano, picked up their Chromebooks, and they're also giving out lunches for the kids that get lunches at school. Now, do you see maybe us doing like a cigar pickup for that kind of a thing, making sure people have what they need?
Hey, I've heard from local cigar companies here that they're delivering cigars. So nobody will go without cigars, I think, during this time period. I'm actually beating around some ideas of doing some like virtual smoking things every night from certain time to certain time. And we'll see what's going to happen with it. But I maybe I'll throw up our Zoom conferencing thing, and then we get 50 guys all smoking together with webcams. I like that idea better than me sitting there smoking in front of people on Instagram and talking to them one way. That just seems weird for me.
Bring them in a little more.
I'd rather have other people talking, and maybe everybody could share what they're drinking, and everybody could share what they're smoking, and we could all congregate virtually in these times of panic or despair.
Now, back to the FDA stuff. That May filing date that you mentioned that could possibly get pushed back. Now, I understand them wanting to test the blends, but where do you think the part of testing each individual size comes from?
Well, so first of all, no, I don't think anybody wants to get into a situation where they're going to file for the requirement of testing. As it stands today, there are 3 different paths, and this is just from what I know, and there's attorneys out there. This is just from what I know in dealing with our attorneys and the industry that I'm aware of. The testing portion of it comes from one path. That path, or the SE path, I don't think anybody wants to go down that path because it's a path of unknown, and it's a path of there's a lot of things entailed with that, and it's very expensive. I think what you're going to see is a lot of grandfathered filings. Grandfathered filings exclude you from testing. Okay. So that is, and again, I don't want to speak for the whole industry, but that is what I believe people are going to want to go down. They're not going to want to go down the testing path, because if you're talking about some of the numbers that they're talking about, which is like $25,000, $30,000 per SKU.
Yeah.
Boutique cigar companies are out. No boutique is going to go through. I mean, that's ridiculous. the other thing about it too is that the ingredients for cigars change often. It's a natural product. I think the FDA is going to become more and more educated as to how the premium cigar business works and how the ingredients work. And I think when they see that, I'm hoping there's a rational decision, because the testing doesn't make sense given all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
oops, sorry, screensaver again. Hold on. Password. So I mean, I think there's that. Also, there's provisions if you're under $5 million a year. As far as I understand, the scrutiny is far less. The FDA realizes that you're considered, a small business or boutique business or whatever, and therefore they're not going to come down with, the full might of the, they're not going to treat you like Philip Morris if you're under $5 million a year. That's what they're saying today. Look, and I'm trying to remain optimistic about all this. I understand that there's a lot of doom and gloom that people are perpetuating, and yeah, could there be some bad things? Of course, but everything that I've seen in the last year and everything that I've gone through myself, having been in it, paying FDA attorneys, I don't see as the worst case. I don't see this going terribly bad. Not to take away from the PCA and those groups that are doing a great job of advocating for the premium cigar industry. They're doing a good job of doing that. I don't want to take away from that, but I'm also very optimistic about the FDA. I'm optimistic about boutique cigar companies. I will say this though, Nick Bolello said that I no longer qualify for a boutique cigar company because my products have one critical flaw that boutique cigar companies should not do. And that is the UPC barcode. He told me that, dude, you can't be putting in no terms. He's like, if you're putting UPCs, how can you be boutique? Like, good point. No, it's just joke.
Yeah, I totally lost my train of thought when you said that right now. Now, as far as entities like CPA and Cigar Rights, would you like them to see more involvement in California? A lot of people say, as California goes, so does the rest of the nation. Would you like them to see them be more active out here in legislation and going to Sacramento and talking?
Yeah, but I think right now what we have in the industry is extremely unfair to retailers. And the unfairness happens because of the internet. The internet and the fact that there are states that have exceptionally high taxes on tobacco, and the retailers have to compete with very large catalog companies that aren't that don't have to apply those same cigar tobacco taxes. I think that's unfair. I do business with one of those large catalog companies, so it's nothing against their business. I just, from a fairness perspective, I just think that retailers, brick and mortar tobacconist retailers, have an unfair dilemma with that. I do think that legislative efforts to correct that or make that more fair is good. I'm a fan of brick and mortar retailers. I'm also a fan of the catalog companies. Catalog companies, they do a good job. They wouldn't be where they're at without doing a good job, without providing great products at a great price, etc. But the way that the things are written today, it creates it's not fair for retailers, and it's especially not fair in California because the tobacco tax is so high.
Right.
I don't necessarily know if it's I'm not real involved in the CRA and all that stuff. I'm sorry, I just haven't really had time to do it. I probably should. I do think, and I've told this to some California retailers, I do think that it's a good idea for the California retailers to bond together and create a collective that's fair, that argues their point, and that protects their best interests. I know that it's been attempted, and it hasn't been attempted successfully because of politics and this and that. But I think it would be of best interest to California retailers, and I know there's some other states that are very high taxes as well. I think Chicago's or Illinois is a high taxed area, and yeah, I mean, I wish, I do think there's unfairness when it comes to that. I don't know if the CRA or those groups need to fight for the retailers in California. I don't know. I'm kind of like I'm more of a small government kind of guy. Like I kind of feel like we as Californians should kind of band together, and the shops and manufacturers in California should band together and fight for our fairness within California, and everybody should do that in every state. That's my thoughts behind it. I mean, I'm not saying every retailer, just like every catalog company, there's good ones and bad ones or whatever. Same thing with retailers, brick and mortar retailers. There's I think great retailers do a great job. Meaning there's a lot of talk these days and a lot of doom and gloom from retailers in California, and I hear that. It's not good, correct? But I do happen to know of lots of California brick and mortar retailers that are great business people and that are doing a good job, and they're having and running successful businesses. So with all that said, I hate to be that person that sits and says, well, you can't survive and the government's going to kill us and it's not going to be good. No, you can survive. There are great retailers in California. Can it be better? Absolutely. Can it be more fair? Absolutely. But it's not all doom and gloom,
And I definitely agree with that. And yeah, in California, being more difficult, it really made people step up. And there's far more great companies here than there are bad ones that would fall from the wayside from all this. And
sure.
Plenty.
You guys are in a shop, right? Cigars and More, the guy that owns Cigars and More, phenomenal guy, great businessman, runs very successful stores. And in Bakersfield, you guys have 3 shops, I think, 3 brick and mortar retailers that you can walk into and that all do well. Fresno, where I'm at, we have 3 great shops that all perform well. We got Cigars LTD, Micah Johnson. We got Cigars Masfino, which is a group of guys that own that. Chris and all those guys, Brad, etc. Paul, if I'm missing any. We got Perfect Blend Cigars down in Tower District, which is Joel Lopez. And they're all of them run successful cigar businesses. But could they all band together for the same stuff? I think they could. I think this great disparity of the internet should be fixed. I think that it's a loophole. Look, Amazon had the loophole, right? For the longest time, Amazon built up their entire business without paying any state sales tax until they finally got so big that the government said, "Hey, look, you guys gotta." But by the time they did it, all the small shops were out of business, right? A little late, but not all of them, but a lot of them. Yeah, man, I think that there needs to be some fairness with regards to that disparity. I don't think it's right. And here's the other thing too. Not only do these, you got to look at the fact that not only do these large online catalogs, not only are they able to get around some of these high state tobacco taxes, but also they can get around the brands per se. Because like if you look at a Cigars International is owned by General Cigar, which is owned by Scandinavian Tobacco Group. Well, General Cigar is also a manufacturer. They're one of the world's largest manufacturers of cigars. So think about it. I mean, they're the brand and the retailer and the manufacturer. And, that vertical integration allows them to be even more competitive on their pricing. Now, from a retailer standpoint, and again, I don't have any problems with General Cigar or Cigars International, but from a retailer standpoint, if you're a retailer in California, if I owned a tobacco shop in California, and I was aware that General Cigar was selling their product for so cheap that I couldn't even buy it in California, I would not sell more General Cigar. I would probably not sell so much of it because I would have it because people would have to probably come into my shop and they're going to ask me for a Partagas and they're going to ask me for a Macanudo, and you should have those products. Yeah. But would I stock my humidor full of it? Probably not a great business idea, So part of it's on the retailer as well,
Absolutely. But we are just about at time, so we do want to thank you for coming on, Ian.
Yeah, no problem.
And of course, once all this virus stuff blows over, we'll definitely have to talk about having a West Coast Kings cigar show to have, M. Bombay, Sinistro, Antigua, Pier 28, and of course Dapper Cigars out there. Maybe make a whole little boutique show. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Right on. That sounds good.
So, like you said, you're based in Fresno, and you guys are in lockdown right now. So, if people wanted to find your cigars online, where could they find them?
Well, we're growing our retailer base around the country through brokers and through sales reps, etc. And so if you go to our website, dappercigars.com/retailers, you can see all the retailers that carry our products in the brick and mortar stores. Now, I'm not saying they're all going to have all of our products and they're not all going to have all of our lines. But, if you send an email to info@dappercigars, myself, Alex, somebody will pick up that email and we'll try to steer you to a retailer that could have that product. Beyond that, if you sit in an area where there isn't a brick and mortar retailer that you can visit and give your money to, give your business to, there at the very bottom of that list are the online retailers that carry our product. We put it at the very bottom because we want people to visit their
brick and mortar
first, but it is there. And cigars like cigar sites like smallbatchcigar.com, they're great businesses. They ship really quickly all over the country, and they carry all of our product. And there's a list of those retailers on our website at the very bottom of the retailer list that say online. And visit any of them. Feel free to visit any of them. Give them a call, give them an order. And they'll get cigars out to you in a timely manner. And that's how they can buy them online.
Fantastic. But again, thank you so much for joining us. For those of you still watching, thank you guys for tuning in. You guys can catch the podcast later on. We might post it. And tomorrow is my birthday. And La Madrina is one of the cigars that I will be smoking tomorrow, just so you know.
Hey, happy birthday. I got a special cigar for you to try for your birthday.
I appreciate that.
I'll hold it for you. I don't know when I'll be able to see you, but maybe I'll throw it in the mail. Send me if you can send me a mailing address, I'll get it tossed in the mail for you.
I absolutely will do that. So thank you everybody for watching, for sticking with us this past hour. Thank you to Ian, owner of Dapper Cigars, for being available for us today. And hopefully we'll get to see him as soon as all this nonsense blows over and everybody is healthy and safe.
Yeah. Hey, thanks again for having me, guys. I apologize again about being late. A little time snafu on my part, but I appreciate everything and wish everybody safeness out there for them and their family. And this is a great time for even myself to spend time with the people that we love. So there's a positive to all this, and maybe enjoy a couple good cigars out in the patio every day.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will catch you guys Saturday, 7 p.m. for the final third of the week. And you all be safe, and you guys all have a good one out there.
All righty. Have a good one, guys.